So I thought I'd make this quick video. As you can see, I'm starting to really lose my hair. It's all the plucking I used to do right here in the front of my head when I was younger. Always trying to be perfect, right? Have a perfect haircut. Anyway, what I'm doing right now, I'm at Richland College, and I scheduled the test for Monday. This Monday coming up at 8:30, I think is in the morning, and going to be taking the written exam. And I feel prepared. I feel right now I can pass the test, but I would like to have an A, at least an A, at worst a B plus. And for the actual test, which is scheduled, paid the fee, it's already scheduled. I just now have to complete that and then schedule the clinicals. The clinicals, from my understanding, is not until like August 26th, I think the soonest. I don't know if it can get me scheduled any sooner if I finish the written part of it first, but I'll find out once I finish the written part of the exam if I can schedule it sooner, because I do not want to wait a whole month to schedule the clinicals when I'm going to have all this free time, and like I'd rather just get this done. But anyway, I got my notes, and what I'll do is I'll go over this. I sort of shoot down this information and sort of try to memorize. I know they say memorizing something is not maybe the best way. You have to approach something and understand how the question is addressing and how to answer that question, as opposed to relying on memorization, which is correct. And I'm working on that, where you try to look on words, focus words, and sentences, and what important sections are to then address a question. So you may not even know an answer to a question or been taught by it, but you can get the answer at least right by making that approach. So what I'm doing right now is I've started to work on this book. And even though I finished this class, this book was not necessary. We didn't even open this book, okay, at all. But what I'm doing is I'm going through Google on my phone, and I'll ask a question, and I'm going to make sure, because this book right here does not have an answer book. I can go through this, usually, I don't know who would have made a book like this, but when you go through a book and you have all these quiz questions, what you do is you have either all the answers at the back of the page, or you have a teacher grade it. So but we didn't have anybody like that. So what I'm doing, this is just out of my own practice notes, just to be a little bit more better and understanding to my job position. What is my job position as a CNA, and to make sure that I'm best fitted for it. Okay, so the more better I am at that, for anything that happens around me that's out of my control, will be more of its own natural causes. So what I do is I going through this and carefully writing the correct answer, and I have to look it on Google. Most of them I already know, but I have to get sort of the factual, structural, textbook wording on how the answer is, what is a physical therapist, what is a physician assistant. And so I then fill these answers and fill these multiple choice questions. Some of them request a lot of writing on here, and it is a lot of pages. From this right here, I mean, this is like this entire book. Let me see if I can even show this. You can see this. I mean, all this. Look at this. All this right here. These are all like different types of yes and no questions. These are multiple choice questions, paragraphs I have to write. So what I'm going to do is I'm going through every single question and everything down to the very detail, one by one, just taking my time and getting all this right. So when I give this, when I start my patient care technician, we're obviously probably going to learn some repeated material, which is going to be the CNA, but I don't know exactly yet. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be some probably repeated material that we're going to learn. If not, I'm going to find out and see if the patient care technician could. I'm going to give this book hopefully to them, or whenever the book is finished. I don't know if I'll be able to finish this book before the end of the patient care technician class, which I'll be registering September 1st after my CNA class. And I'll get them to grade it so that I know that everything on here that I did is 100% correct. So then I'll have a go-to book. I'll write here, CNA, study book. And so I'll be able to skim through this in any question and have all the answers to each question with regards to a test and a CNA, at least to the job position, right? Because these two books that I had are required to have are required to be in the class, which is these two books, this book and this book. I've already read this entire book, right, weeks ago. So it'll be very good because it's also good for me because obviously whenever questions are being asked, there's gravitational pools, is what I call them, where the gravitational pools of answers will sort of kind of lead you to that, or as opposed to very factual, direct questions, or even trick questions. And understanding those sort of structural questions is very important to be able to, or for me, to be able to understand that, so that all the other tests I'm going to be taking is going to make me that much more better. And I'll have then the direct answering responses to this, as opposed to also having the memorization of what I read and how I understand the literature of just retaining and reading something, as opposed to, what I'm trying to say is handwritten visual information that I've written. So I think this will overall make me a better picture. I usually write these down notes kind of like this, so I should just kind of shoot down all these different information that I usually feel like I won't be able to either remember very well or have a little trouble on understanding, and then I'll be able to understand that a little bit better. So it'll make me, that much more better. So I don't know if I'll be able to finish this before, so I'm just kind of going to do this sort of gradually. Hopefully I will be able to before the PCT class is over, or before I even start it. But that's what I plan to do. So and also, just in case if I don't, right? Because I'm just taking my leisure time with this, because the patient care technician class is also probably very good to know this information thoroughly, okay? Because it'll make me that much more better. So when I do a travel trip, like, whatever, I'm going to go to do temp agencies and I got my patient care technician and CNA license, I'm like, look, I need you to find me a place to live. Where do you need help? They'll say, okay, we need some help in, this dementia unit, and, North Carolina, it's a small town, yada, yada, yada. They're going to, obviously, they always pay well because you're going to be traveling, right? So I get a pay increase. So my assumptions is I'm definitely going to make, like, since the pay increase, I'm thinking like probably starting anywhere from probably $22 to $25 an hour. And that's really, really good. I won't just have a CNA, but I'll have a patient care technician. So it'll put me at least in that bracket. At least I believe it will. So obviously I'm on disability insurance. I can only make $1,400 a month, and that's way more. But the thing is I have about 6 or 7 credits. So I can work at an assignment for 3 months perfectly fine on a 3 months assignment, and make as much money as I want. And then finish my assignment, and then head back to Dallas. So they find me a place to live. I've already talked to another LVN that told me about the information, how that actually works when you work for temp agencies with CNA travel agencies. And the way that works is they give you some sort of, what did she call it? It was a certain type of word she calls it, but they give you they give you some money. And say it's like $2,000, and with that $2,000 is supposed to cover all your rent, and whatever your rent is, they find you a place to live, or you can find another place on your own. So what she said she did is that she was able to go get or find her own place and then keep the money that she wanted, and that's why. So that was kind of the particular type of situation that happened with her, and it's a choice that people want. But for me, I just don't feel safe doing that. I'm just gonna, you find me a good residence because they're professionals, right? And so they'll find me a place to live. I pay X amount of dollars, and usually I think they're supposed to be I'm, from my understanding of it, at least maybe $100 or a couple $100 over from what they give you for rent, and then you're supposed to keep that as I guess a bonus or something like that. But they pay for the rent, and then your paycheck is completely separate. That's just simply what I earned. And while I'm on the plane, while I'm at the airport and I have nothing to do, I can go over this very quickly. I can open this up, it's finished, or I can work on it if I'm still working on it. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I have my patient care technician, and I can just go over this. And it's a good to have to book for me. But I'm just really taking my time. I'm sort of just in the slow process of completing this, and but I'll have to get this completely checked to get this, make sure that all the answers on here are 100% correct. So when they're all 100% answered correctly, I know that, okay, I'm not going to be learning information that's completely incorrect and then thinking that it's real and it just it was all a lie. But at least this is what comes with education, because obviously when you get into the LVN programs, there's going to be questions that is going to be over all this material. It's not going to be a whole new section of material that I've never learned before. There's going to be repeated information of this as well. Even if I'm a medical assisting is supposed to be more about the administrative clerical work inside the office, which is, to my understanding, is kind of weird, because I've always thought medical assisting is a combination of phlebotomy, EKG, and a lot of the materials that you learn in the medical field, right? Because if you watch medical assistants, they can work in offices. They do a lot of the front desk. They do medical coding as well, all that kind of stuff. Medical coding, phlebotomy, EKGs. They can do all the different stuff. They can do a few more steps than the PCT. It's like the PCT can do a few more steps as CNA. But it's preferred to have a CNA over a patient care technician, but they just work in two different offices. Nursing homes versus hospitals. So that's really my understanding of it. And then the LVNs is a few more steps above learning information than the medical assisting class. And then the LVN to the RN is a multiple of much more new information, of knowledge and technical things. Even though the LVN, there's a lot of stuff that the RN will never do, even though the registered nurse is qualified to do. The RN can do a lot more serious decision making, when they administrate chemotherapy, and that kills a lot of people. You do some serious decisions that really affect people, that has to do with a tremendous amount of calculation, and even when you're an RN, you have to be certified in a whole new session of that to even learn the chemotherapy part of that. But anyway, that's just kind of what I'm doing. And today, so I still got, with today's Wednesday, so I have today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so I have about 4 or 5 days to go over this material. I feel like I can pass it. I feel like I don't even have to spend maybe more than 10 minutes, more than maybe, I don't know, an hour. I'd say no more than an hour just studying the notes that I have to make sure that I would pass. I still feel that I would, even if I were to take the test right now, I would pass. So what I'm going to do also is before Monday, I'm going to take the practice exam as well. The practice exam is on Prometric, which is the company that administrates the actual test for the CNAs. So even though I don't know why they make it all difficult. I guess it's an organization and business opportunity for other people that want to get involved. But when you're taking a CNA license and you want to go take the test, you have to pay these money fees because there's different agencies, and so when you do that, it is a government institutional regulation system that you have to go through on Health and Human Services Department, and then they use Prometric, which Prometric is just like a basically an office you go into that somebody set up, and I think they're privately owned. I'm not sure exactly, but they're privately owned, so people can go there and take a test, a clinical test, and they've been through all their own tests and stuff. But they're, I don't know why they do it like that, but that's how they function in. So that's what I plan to do. And yeah, the skills clinical part is I'm more worried about than anything else, because I need to pass that and get that. So once that is complete and I walk in there and get that done, and I don't want to have to wait until the end of the month. I'd rather get that done right away so that I can spend the whole month from August 1st to the last day of August. Okay, so finishing up this book and getting ready and registered for class September 1st, and also doing a little bit of part-time work as a PRN, work as a CNA, PRN, which is call-on basis, just whenever they need me, 1 or 2 days a week, maybe 3 days a week, 4 or 5 hours, or maybe full days of work. I'll go to a rehabilitation center, which I haven't worked for. I've already been in dementia, which was at clinicals, and I've been there a whole bunch of times, just depending on what's available near me and what I think is more suitable. But I'm going to go earn a little bit of money, a little bit of cash to allow me to eat really well at Subway, because they have a Subway over at Cedar Valley. So that's like a super plus. That's like a super plus. They have a Subway there. I can eat healthy. And yeah, so that's just kind of what's going on. For those that are also wondering, why am I wearing a medical outfit when I don't work and I'm not at school? It's very easy for me to put this on, and it kind of helps motivate me a little bit. and to sort of take this knowledge and stuff a little bit more serious. So I think it helps. It kind of made me think too, because when I wore this, because I have my clothes, my dirty clothes that I just kind of sort of wear, and wash every once in a while, because I'm always either getting dirty or washing clothes or doing something that I don't want to ruin just the 2 shirts and 2 pants that are brand new. That I just don't want to ruin it, because I don't want to be spending money. So, but it reminded me of, if you've ever heard stories where actors, they kind of get stuck in their cycles of the life that they think they're living, and they've already left that type of job of work. Like Michael Jackson playing the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz, and heard that he would show up to his house and for like a whole week just continually wearing the outfit, and everyone was like kind of freaking out a little bit and had to tell him, it's like, oh hey, which is the same thing like actors, like the guy from the guy from the old school TV show, I think The Monsters, I think it's called, with the Frankenstein and the Dracula looking lady and the vampire looking grandpa, and the Monsters, I think it was called. Well, in that show there was a little kid that used to play as the wolf, and it just happened to many actors where they do it for a living and they think that they are that person, like they think they are that person, and it's I don't know, I've heard stories about it. But anyway, I just wear this because it's easy right now, but I'm gonna get me a nicer one. I'm gonna get me one of these pocket on the probably at least a couple pockets on my side, because it allowed me to pull out quick notes, see if there's any other better materials that they have, different styles. I know they're pretty expensive because I went to Union. I went to Nursing Uniform World, I think it's called, over near. I think it's on Abrams, and it's not too far from here. It's like Abrams and LBJ, and I went there, and it was like the full shirt and pants. I think were like at least $100, 80 to $100 starting price. It was like $60 for the pants, and it was crazy because it's just simple stuff like this. But I figured it'd get me at least one more pair, and I'll still keep these, you know. But so I'm gonna get me a little bit nicer pair for graduation. So I'll probably do that as well, so that when I finish as a patient care technician, I'll have a good suited outfit for me to wear, and hopefully get to work for a little while, because I still have to get to Jerusalem. I haven't forgot about that. I also want to get to Spain. So when I get this, if I get to Spain and I get to the old man that builds the churches, that's what I plan to do. Is what I'm still have goals to do, is earn enough money to be able to go to my travel trips, have a little bit of money aside, and pay a visit to they call him Justo, which is the guy that built the church for the last 60 years of his life entirely almost by himself, because a Catholic church, and he was a monk for many years, and he's like 90 years old or something like that. So he's in Spain, Madrid. I wanted to go by there and, you know, just take this magnificent, because I've never heard of anybody being that dedicated, particularly to build a church with all by himself. And it's just a phenomenal story. And then go to the Vatican, receive some blessings, take a look at Michelangelo's artwork. Maybe talk to some Catholic priest. Get some blessings. Obviously that incredible place. And then go to number one is, and the destination is to get to Jerusalem, to then be there for a couple weeks, couple months, and experience the whole environment where Jesus walked, and soak in as much as that material knowledge, blessings, and the reality of that world, what it must have been like. And I think that'll help me, my family, those that are care about anything, if what we do here as humans really matters, and it's collected in any form of the way that our actions matter. So I like to do that. So that may be a little while, because obviously that's going to be, I won't finish a patient care technician until the few weeks before Christmas, and then obviously I'll probably chill out for a while, Christmas time, holidays, and then January figure out what the next situation, because I still want to get this LVN, this licensed vocational nurse, but I need to get the job training first. So by January, I need to kind of get the feeling of the travel, to work, find your destination to live, finish the assignment wherever they're going to send me, and then get back home. And so that's what I plan to do, and do that. At least I'm going to run at least one assignment before I make any decision, whether I'm going to do one more assignment or take the traveling trip, or just immediately enroll into school. Whether I enroll in school, I won't be able to enroll in school because I have to pass a TSI first. So I'll probably, the whole study process of intense studying, I'll have to just go ahead and start doing that so that I can complete the TSI. I just have to do the reading and math. Reading, I won't have any really problems with. Reading and writing, it's going to be more of the math that I'm more worried about. I have to relearn. I just failed it by a few questions, so I'll have to relearn, because I haven't, I passed the GED like 5 months ago. There's a numbers of information I've already forgotten on a lot of that math. So I'll have to just keep doing that until I pass a TSI. Hopefully I can do that within 3 months and eventually pass it. And then that way I can directly enroll into LVN and see what that, because that's a whole journey in itself. That's an 18-month program. So that's just kind of what's going on right now. And I'll post updates, I guess, a little bit later. And, but that's sort of what the plan is, the mission plan. Don't know which state I'm going to go to. I got a few states and ideas that I want to go to. I mean, it'd be great if they can get me an assignment just for like 6 or 7 weeks, and they give me the place to live and they give me the whatever, the little bit pay raise for it, and I finish that assignment, I get back to Dallas. I'll see if they can get me another 6 or 7 weeks, 8 weeks at most, to a different place, to a different city, so I can work sort of a couple of different states. But there's a little bit of entanglement with that as well, because I have to re-register with the registration aid to change the Texas license CNA to a California CNA license. I don't know why they make you do that, and this is one of the reasons I also going to need this book, because I'll have to retake the test. I don't have to take the class again, but I'll have to take the retest in some states. Some states require for you to pay a fee. I don't think any of the states require you to take the entire class again, but many of them require for you to take the test all over again and pay the fees I forgot what it's called. It's called Ropricity or something like that, where you contact the Health and Human Resources Department and say, look, I'm a CNA from Texas. I need to convert this CNA license to California license or Kansas license. Okay, well, here's the fee. You got to take the test. Here's again. So, and that's why I have my notes. So that'll be really good. But that's the plan right now. So hopefully it all works out. It may be all completely different. I never know what I'm being ordered to do and what I won't be allowed to do and what will be safe for me to do. So, but that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. So, study.